Hey guys, today I'm gonna show you how to min-max your stuff. In my previous video we were obtaining, our equipment, the correct monsters. We did go over the basics of the combat system, including the things that we just obtained. Now we're gonna take it a step further. On your map you will have to go to this exact location where I'm heading into right now. Here you will find a feral monster called Niskrilla. It's a spider, and you will have to defeat it with the things that we obtained with the purple Brachydios and our Namiel armor, etc. Our venom hammer. And once you did, you will establish yourself a new camp, a new caravan stand. Here you will have to restore the habitat again. You will have to find, breed and train your purple Brachydios again. That is because if you train your purple Brachydios in this very area right here in the Mirror Lake is what it's called, your purple Brachydios will be blue. That is very funny, very funny to me to begin with, because you have a purple Brachydios that is blue. You get the point. What this leads to is that his attacks not only apply the water element damage to them, but here you will also get access to your egg moves much easier. You want the egg skill that you see right here called Composure, because this one, it is a buff. You will see this when we hop into combat against the feral Brachydios. We will beat him today together, guys. We will not watch the entire fight, That thing is like 30 minutes long, approximately, so don't worry. I'm just gonna explain to you some things and show you how to use the blue purple Brachydios and their egg skills. There are additional monsters that you will have to gain access to. I, in my previous video, already mentioned him once. It's the Dread Queen Rathian. You have to gain access to him because he is a speed type monster, and you need him in order for you to be able to win some head-to-heads. That is key. Another one that you need, is a monster of the agility type, and that will be the Niskrilla. These monsters are only here. The only reason why we have them is to win the head-on-heads. So the feral Brachydios that we are about to face, he is from the power archetype, He does power attacks, and in order for us to counter them, we need a speed type monster. That's why we have the Dread Queen Rathian. When he enrages, he switches his type to speed himself, and in order for us to win the head-on-heads against a speed type monster, we need one with the agility type. That's why we have Niskrilla and Dread Queen Rathian here with us, including 3 purple Brachydios with the water element type and with the egg move Composure on all 3 of those purple Brachydios that are actually blue. Alright, now we are ready to hop into battle. Here we are. So the very first thing that you have to check are the attack lines. We are hit with crazy RNG out of the wazoo, right out of the gate. Because now here it's fine, because he attacks my partner. He will win the head-on-head anyways. In case here it would happen to you that the feral Brachydios would attack our monster, that is detrimental for us. Because what we want to do right out of the gate always is to set up some stacks, or one stack in that very specific case here, of our egg move Composure to increase our Vivant fall damage for our entire team. If he would attack our monster now, we could not do that, because we would have to win the head-on-head, and we would have to switch to our Dread Queen Rathian. So if that would happen to you, you can immediately reset the fight right here. Okay, let's watch moving the clip. See, we can now switch to our purple gypterers and do composure immediately to increase our entire team's Vivan full damage. That is the most important thing, of course. Here you can see where he attacks our partner and he wins the head-on-head. That is very, very lucky. That is not always what happens. Here on turn 2, he could immediately hit you with an AoE attack and there's nothing you can do about it, and you just lose hearts out of the wazoo. And losing the hearts early on here would be detrimental, because you are so much more likely to just lose the fight out of the gate, right? Here I got really, really lucky, because our attacks, they can stun our opponent and make him unable to act. Guess what happened? We made our opponent unable to act. So the RNG here is crazy in our favor. Now again, right, we check the lines and we see he attacks our partner's monster right now. That is also another way where we get pretty lucky, because he could also not attack our partner's monster and go for another AoE attack again. That would lead us to be forced to break his Vivan soul gauge right here, right now, no matter what. Since we do see that he attacks our partner's monster, we can chill and we can actually set up another stack of our X skill, Composure. That is extremely, extremely beneficial, and those are the very first turns, few turns, are the most important part of every fight, because once you survived like 3 to 4 turns, you will get into this rotation and into this flow of constantly staggering your opponent no matter what. See, right here I realize this. I don't need to tail stun. I don't need to use my sweet spot. I still go because, yeah, right, the pressure is on. I stagger him anyways, even though I wouldn't need to. I could have just used a basic attack to keep my stamina afloat. But yeah, right now we have our Vivan fall. Here you see this medium, right? One more time we would have it large. We have the opportunity to get our composure stacks to 3, which would then be an L for large, and like we would be good to go. All we would have to worry about right now is to watch out what our opponent does. If he attacks our monster, we have to win the head-on-head. If there is no line, like it is right here, we know we have to go nuts and we have to prevent him from using his AoE attack. So our objective here is to break him, to stagger him. That is not gonna happen. But again, you see how RNG heavy this is and how insanely lucky I get here, right? He would have used an AoE attack, but I got lucky, I stunned him, he wasn't able to move, and that saved me a whole turn. And right here, right now, I've won the fight already, because now I'm in this rotation of constantly being able to stagger him. All I have to watch out for now is if he would ever attack my monster, then I have to switch to win the head-to-head. And I have to realize and have to keep an eye on when do I have to use my X skill Composure to keep my buff alive, right? You can open a menu to check how many stacks you have. This one right here, you see this? How I check real quick how many stacks of my buff I have. 1 second, let's wait until I open the menu again, so you know exactly and you see with your own eyes what I'm actually talking about. Right here I stun him. Now I check. Here, this is the menu that I mean. Here you can check the lines, and I see that I have 2 turns remaining for my buff that gives me my Vivan fall damage up. It is large. I don't need any more stacks. It's already 3 stacks, that's the cap. And it is 2 turns remaining. So I have a little bit of breathing room here. I see my enemy's Vivan soul gauge is already almost broken, so I could rebuff right now. I can use tail stun. I have all the freedom in the world right here. See, I just go for a basic attack to keep my stamina afloat. I tail stun him, that staggers him. You never use the Synchro Rush, as you are probably aware of. And that is really it. See that you always counter him and know what kind of attack he's gonna use, right? Is it a power attack? Is it an agility? What is his typing? We know he's power, so we counter him with speed. If he enrages, he is speed, so we counter him with agility. That's it. Then, next up, as I said many times by now, check the lines. The only line that would ever matter is when he would attack the main character, yourself, or if he would attack your monster. Then you have to switch to the monster or switch your typing according to whatever he is at the time to counter attack him. And the only other, the only thing where like not only knowledge comes into play, but a little bit of skill, is to realize when should you use basic attacks with your main character to keep your stamina afloat, and when do you rebuff your X skill, and when do you tail stun him, right? Those are basically the only things that you have to worry about. And if you manage to keep track of these things for like 30 minutes straight, you will beat this fight without any issue whatsoever. It is free real estate if you don't get heavily fucked up by this crazy amount of RNG, especially early on into the fight. See, right here we are in the cycle. We can constantly break his V1 Soul Gouge for free every single turn. Just keep the buff afloat from your X skill, use the tail stuns right. I think you get the point. It is very, very easy and very straightforward. Check the lines, keep your buff afloat, and see if he is enraged or not. And that's gonna be about it. That's the whole fight. It's free real estate. And then you will be sitting here for approximately 30 minutes and wait until the poison has withered him down. That is it. That is the whole combat system. It is completely broken. It's a completely broken game. At least in the beta, there is no skill. Everything is just a chore to get here, and then in the first few turns pray for the correct RNG, and that's gonna be about it. You can see right here we took him down after like 30 minutes, and that's it. Now I want to talk to you a little bit about the game, and I have a question for you if you have played the previous Monster Hunter story games. So let's talk about that a little bit. The question I have for you, in case you played the other Monster Hunter story games, is if the gameplay loop from this beta is the whole game. I kind of fear this, because if that is the case, the game is pretty bad and I would not have much fun playing it. I will do it anyways. I will play the game no matter what. I will cover it on YouTube. I will stream my playthrough on twitch.tv. But if that's the case, right, that you walk into an area, you beat one monster to establish this caravan here, then you restore the habitat, you gonna move around the map, steal eggs from these dens, and it is an absolute chore, because again, the RNG in like what eggs you find and what monsters breed from these eggs, like this took me hours and hours and hours on end. It is not fun doing this crap either, and I have to find and breed the same monsters time and time and time again to get them to S rank. And what all of this then leads to is that I find one very specific monster from all of these, from the whole habitat here. It's just the purple Gypteros. That's all I ended up needing from all of this habitat restoration, from all the hours I spent with this boring chore of like finding these eggs in these dens here and constantly resetting the map with day and night cycle, right? Like, yikes. And I needed to do this to get my 3 purple Gypteros. Then I moved to another point in the map, which is right here. Then I beat another monster to establish another caravan, and guess what? I have to repeat the process, right? Again, I beat this monster, I restored the habitat. Again, I was going again, egg hunting here like a madman for hours on end, just to breed, again, a very specific monster. In this case here, it was even the exact same monster, but instead of it being purple, it's now blue. But I have to go through this process, because the next enemy that I have to beat, I really want to hit him for this elemental water weakness and do a little bit of more Wyvern Soul gouge damage, right? So, to boil the question down, is the gameplay loop: you go into an area, you beat a monster, you establish a caravan, you restore the habitat by grinding and finding these boring ass eggs over and over and over and over and over again, just to then breed one monster out of all of this to beat the next enemy, right? And if that is the whole gameplay loop in this game, then this game sucks big ass. I gotta be honest, like, that is crazy, the amount of time and how boring it is to like go to all of these dens and find the right eggs. I'm like constantly pressing like spacebar. It is on PC, or you on console, you will press A over and over and over and over and over again until you find the correct egg that you actually needed. And the egg skills, like, oh my god, if that's the whole game, I'm gonna have a really hard time, because the whole combat system here is completely broken. There is nothing to it. You get the right gear and you breed the right monster, and then you have like 3 skills that you use, and the game is completely broken. I mean, I hope this is not the case when the actual full game releases. I hope this is just the gameplay loop in the beta. But if you know this from other Monster Hunter story games, please let me know if that is the case in the comment section down below. I would be really thankful for that. But again, regardless of whatever happens, I will go through this process. I will play the game, I will beat the game, and I cover every single aspect of this game here on YouTube. But that's about me for today, for this video, guys. I hope this was fun and informative. If you want to see more Monster Hunter Stories 3 related content from me, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, take care of yourselves, have a great day, peace.